porte à croire que c'est Ozzy lui-même et en personne qui tiendra le micro de Black Sabbath dans un avenir proche, Metal Express vous présente la toute dernière interview de Ronnie James Dio au sein de Black Sabbath. À l'époque, il y croyait encore.
I wanted to finish a chapter that I felt was yet unfinished. We'd only done 2 albums in this band, in Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell album, and the Mob Rules. Live Evil album was another album, but it was a live album, and it doesn't count to me. Every night is a live album to me, so it's not important. I always felt that we had stopped too soon doing what we did so well, and here was an opportunity to try it at least one more time. They say that it's over. We're lost children of the sea. Influence has to be to the first Black Sabbath, to Tony and Geezer and to Ozzy and Bill Ward, who really were the ones who created a lot of what you hear from the influence of other bands. Certainly bands like Soundgarden, who I think are somewhat more influenced by old Sabbath and DIO Sabbath. It's very nice, but we don't live in the past, and we don't live on the nice things that people say about us. We're only as good as we can be. We're only as good as we are with an album that we make. And you're only as good as your songs anyway. If you don't have a good song, no one wants to hear it. And we're only as good as we play live. You can't make good music unless you like each other. So that had nothing to do with it. So let me put that to rest, that we never had a problem, Tony and I. When we came back together the first day, it was as though we had never stopped. The same feeling was there, the same trust in each other as musicians was there, the same like as people were there. I just think that this time we all did more in this band. It wasn't so much Tony and I that had to do a lot of things together. It was Geezer and Tony and Ronnie and Vinny who did everything. We did it as a group this time, and I think that the album shows a lot of that. But for Tony and I to get back together again was dead easy, just as though 10 years had not even gone past. Can you help me? Occupy my brain. best part of my life, not the worst part of it. I think somewhat of what you said is true in that I think I wanted not to have to be so responsible for everything within the band. Writing it, producing it, singing it, directing it, correlating the stage show. I wanted to have a hand in everything that I did. I've always felt that if you don't do it yourself, it doesn't get done properly. So I always did make sure that I was very involved in it all. But after doing that and it was almost 10 years of doing that, I decided that I would probably be better served as an artist if I were only to do what I do best, which is to sing and to write. Governments are falling and governments are letting people down. There's so many homeless. Drugs are such an incredible problem. AIDS is such a problem. From Bosnia to Somalia, the world has gotten worse instead of better after the Berlin Wall went down and after there's no more communism in Russia and Eastern Europe. And it made us very angry. And we are people who, after all, live in this world. So we wanted to make it an album for the 90s. Not only in musical context, but in the words that were spoken. And I think that most of the kids we've talked to felt exactly the same way. You're writing about today, about our problems, but it still is dark and heavy like Sabbath. It's great. Once I became 17, I never seemed to get any older to myself. But with experience comes the attitude that you know that you have lived through things that the faces you see in front of you have not yet. And if only you could tell them what life is really all about, they would probably be easier for them. But that's not what being young is about. What being young is about is making your own mistakes, learning your own experiences, and not letting someone tell you that you can't do this, because the only way to find out that you can is to do it yourself. So I've got no problem with being old or young.